live stream, we're going to talk about how to know when to use active voice and passive voice. This is a super common beginner, intermediate, and advanced question. So today I want to practice using these two types of sentences together, and we're going to look at how we change active to passive. We're also going to talk about when we should use these, because that's a big question lots of learners have. So as you join, please make sure to hit the like button and share this video because it helps other people find the lesson, yeah? While we wait, a quick announcement about this banner at the bottom of the screen that says download your free 2,000 words ebook. The team has created a free PDF ebook that has the 2,000 core words of English. The core words of English are the most commonly used words in everyday English communication. So you can get this for free at EnglishClass101.com. You can download this from the link below the video, YouTube, or above the video, Facebook. Okay, so I'll come and check the chat and then we'll start the lesson because I always like to explain for a little too long. Hello everybody in the YouTube chat. Hello Natalie and Atharagma, I hope I said your name correctly. Lartig, I hope I said that right. Yanao from Guatemala, what's up? Facebook is loading. Hi, Facebook. I think Facebook is just turning on now. Excellent. So as you join, send a message in the chat. I will try to check live. And of course, send your example sentences in the chat live or just practice later if you're watching this after the live. Great, Facebook. Hello, Juan. What's up? I see Juan in the Facebook chat. Great, and back on YouTube, I see more people are joining now. Patrick, what's up? Moto, Lorena from Colombia, what's up? Funny from India, hello. Ong, hello, you waited for this live? That's awesome. I hope that you enjoy. Alexandre, Natalia from Colombia, Maximo, Felipe, hello everybody. If I missed you, I will come back again in just a moment. Let's begin today's lesson. When to use active, when to use passive. Let's begin our warm-up, maybe with the easy one, right? Active voice. When should we use active voice? I wrote in red the focus guides for making your decision, okay? We use active voice when the person or thing doing the action is the focus, okay? So, for example, I am teaching. I am the focus of the sentence, right? I am the person doing the action. So, I am the focus of the sentence. I'm the subject of the sentence, yeah? This is active voice. Second point, we know who did the action. So in the sentence, I am teaching, we know it's me, right? I am teaching. We know the teacher. We know the person acting. These are the two key guidelines for choosing active voice, okay? This is important because we are going to change these guides in passive voice. So let's begin by looking at a few examples of active voice sentences. You can send your active voice sentences in the chat. Go crazy. You can choose any active voice grammar you want, okay? That's fine. But we're going to change that sentence to passive voice in part 2, okay? So let's look at some examples. Let's break them down because these are all examples of active voice. First one is simple. He took my coffee. He took my coffee. In this sentence, we have he as the subject. Our verb is took, and the object here is my coffee. So this is a past tense active voice sentence. We know who did the action. He, the person, is the focus of this sentence. We have a past tense verb, took, and the object is my coffee. This is the thing affected by the verb, okay? Let's go to the second example then. The second example is, I made a mistake. I made a mistake. Oh, Control S, can we maybe move the framing just a tiny bit? I made a mistake. In this sentence, we have the subject, I. So this is the person who did the action. Thank you. And then we have made here as the verb, I made. And what happened? What is the affected by the verb? A mistake. I made a mistake. This sentence is active voice because we know who did the action and we know the thing or doing the person or thing doing the action is the focus, yeah? Okay, I'm coming to the examples in the chat now. Renee, Alicia cracked down on, you need an object in that sentence, yeah? Alicia cracked down on crime, whatever it is, okay? You needed an object for your sentence. Lartig wrote, she closed the gate. Great, very simple example. On Facebook, I don't see examples yet. Hello to Monk, what's up? Okay, keep sending your examples in the chat. I will come to check. Let's look at some longer examples of active voice sentences now. The first longer example is, they're going to fix the problem. They're going to fix the problem. Here, our subject, we have they are. They are. This is they are contracted, okay? They are. Here is our verb section. Oh, sorry. I put that bracket in a little bit the wrong spot. Oh, shoot. Okay, let me fix that. All right, so here's our verb section. They're going to fix. So all of this is our verb section. They are going to fix. That's a lot of information. We have all of this in the verb section because this is a future tense active voice sentence, okay? They are going to fix. So we have they're going to fix followed by the object, the problem. Yeah? So again, 3 parts in this active voice sentence again. Subject, future tense verb, object, okay? Perfect active tense, perfect simple sentence. Okay, next one. The construction company is building a bridge. The construction company is building a bridge. Again, here we have a longer subject. The construction company, right? The person or the organization or the company doing the action, the focus of the sentence, yeah? Then here's our verb, is building, is building. We have a progressive or continuous tense verb here. The construction company is building, object, a bridge, okay? So you can see all of these follow the same pattern, right? Subject, verb, object. Very simple sentences. Okay, let's see some examples. Oscar in the chat wrote, I did my chores. Nice one. Ong wrote, she made my heart broken. Ah, okay. Heartbroken is usually like an adjective. We would say, she broke my heart. She broke my heart. Then it's perfect. Patrick, I ate a delicious rice and bean. Okay, rice and beans are uncountable. So we would say, I ate delicious rice and beans today. Then it's perfect. Renee wrote, she will make dinner. Good. Let's check Facebook. My car was driven, passive voice. You're part 2. Now we're practicing this one, active voice. So say, I drove my car. Yeah, I drove my car. Ali wrote, Emily ate a taco. Singular taco. Emily ate a taco today. Great job, Emily. I love that. Let's look at our last example in active voice then. That guy stole my phone. That guy stole my phone. So subject, that guy. Subject is that guy, plus we have the verb stole, past tense, followed by the object, my phone. Oh no. Okay, so as you can see, active voice can take a lot of different forms, okay? I'm not sure if I'm supposed to be here, but active voice can take a lot of different forms. So when you ask like, oh, is this active voice? Is this active voice? The key is that the person or the thing doing the action is the subject of the sentence. This is very important because it's different from passive voice, okay? This is our warm-up. So let's take a super quick break. I'll check the chat and then we'll go to part 2 where we do kind of the opposite of these sentences, okay? Let me see what you wrote. Natalie wrote, I dropped my wallet. Perfect example sentence. Lartigue, should we always have a subject? If you want to make an active voice sentence, yeah. Like if you remove this, took my coffee. It's like, well, that we don't know. We need a subject in this kind of sentence. We need to know who did the action, yeah? So make sure that you have a subject. If I say made a mistake, we can't do that. In some languages, I know, based on context, we can remove the subject, yeah? But in English, to make an active voice sentence, we must have a subject, okay? All right, phew. very quickly, let me remind you then about, in our quick break, about this banner at the bottom of the screen, which says, download your free 2,000 words ebook. So the team has created a free PDF ebook that gives you the 2,000 core words of English. The core words of English are the 2,000 most commonly used words for everyday communication. So if you want to study the most important words first, download this ebook. It is totally free. If you have an EnglishClass101.com account, great. Just log in, come back to this page, and you can download this ebook. If you do not have an account, no problem. Just make a new free account. You need your name and an email address to do that, and then click the link, and then you can get this right here, right here. So check it out. This is great for building your vocabulary. Let's continue. I don't see any other examples, so let's go to part 2. If you have not, please, please, please make sure to hit the like button and share this video. Yeah, it helps other people to find the lesson. Let's go to passive voice now. Okay, passive voice. This is the one that people get confused about, right? They go, when should I use passive voice? It's not clear to me. Why should I use passive voice? So let's talk about it, okay? We use passive voice when the person or thing affected by the action is the focus, okay? The person or thing affected by the action is the focus. So that means this, the object of the active voice sentence, this thing, like my coffee or a mistake, these are the focus points of the sentence in passive voice, okay? Like, let's look at the other two guides then. Second, when we may not know who did the action. Like, we don't know the person who did the action, or we want to hide the person who did the action. You might say, why do we want to hide the person who did the action? One, children like to use this grammar point when they did something wrong, when they did something bad, okay? Or bad people, when they did something bad and they want to hide it, or they want to try to get away from responsibility, they may use the passive voice. You will see passive voice in this sense in the news a lot. When you see a company scandal, oh my gosh, you will see a lot of passive voice sentences in company scandals in the news, because the leaders of the company or the person responsible in the company, they want to try to get away from responsibility. So this is it sounds strange, but this is a very common thing to see in the news, okay? So let's take a look at our passive voice sentence examples and notice these are all the same as in part 1. However, we changed to passive voice. We're going to practice changing to passive voice in part 3. So if you look at this and you go, what? Please wait for part 3 when we talk about an easy way to change active voice to passive voice, okay? Some of you are already sending your examples. Nice. I see Natalie wrote, the seat was taken. Nice. And Michaela wrote, my car is broken. You could say like, okay, let me come back to that. So let's look at our examples first. My coffee was taken. My coffee was taken. This is the passive voice form of he took my coffee. Okay, so notice here, our subject is my coffee. This becomes the focus of the sentence. Then we have was taken. This is our verb here. Notice there's nothing after the verb, right? There's no person or anything. We could say my coffee was taken by someone, but we don't need to. In passive voice like this, we don't need to say by someone, right? The idea with passive voice is we don't know who did the action, yeah? So my coffee was taken. Hate that. Okay, let's look at the next example. A mistake was made. A mistake was made. Here we have I made a mistake in passive voice. So our subject is a mistake. Same as the object here, yeah? Easy. Then we have our verb section. A mistake was made. Who made the mistake? It's not important, right? So you might see this at work, right? Your coworker made a mistake and they feel ashamed or embarrassed, right? They write in an email, A mistake was made. Oops. Who did it? Probably we know. It was the coworker. But they write, a mistake was made. It's like they want to get away from the responsibility, right? Okay, let's look at the longer examples then. The problem is going to be fixed. The problem is going to be fixed. This is this example sentence in passive voice, yeah? Which was, they're going to fix the problem. So we have the problem right here as our subject. Here is our verb section. Long, right? It seems long, but this is a future tense example, right? So, is going to be. So, we're going to talk about how to know what verb to use in part 3. So, don't worry if you're not sure, okay? I'll check the chat really quickly because there's some good ones. Some people are sending examples that are in the active voice. Maybe you're watching part 1 right now. That's okay. Victor wrote, the project will be completed next week. Nice example. Good. Renee, the car has been driven. Okay, so you can remove by her, yeah? So if you don't know who drove the car, good. If you do know who drove the car, you can add by her. But if you want to hide or if you don't know who drove the car, you can use that sentence. On Facebook, Milton wrote, the AC in my car, not May, my car was repaired. Great, okay? Someone, I can't read your name, sorry, I can't read that language. Food was cooked. Okay, good. Food was cooked. By who? We don't know. Great. Good example. David asked a question, can I say my mistake was made? No, because in saying my mistake, that sounds like I did it. It's my mistake, right? Like grammatically, yes, but that's very kind of a strange thing to say, right? Say a mistake was made, yeah? So if you say my mistake, it's like my mistake was made clearly by me, right? It's a very strange thing to say. Like I do not recommend say that. It sounds like very strange. Let's see. What's next? Oh my gosh. Ali wrote, my food had been eaten. I'll come to verbs in part 3. My food had been eaten, or my food was eaten, maybe, before I came back. Good. Michaela wrote, the document will be delivered. Good. Oscar wrote, the local store was stolen from yesterday. That sentence means the local store, that means someone stole all, like the building, the store itself. Someone took the building with like a machine, a big machine, and took the store, the building, okay? The local store was stolen from yesterday, or the local store was robbed yesterday. To rob a store means to take money or to take goods from a store, okay? So maybe you want to say the local store was robbed yesterday, okay? Let's see. Some other people are writing examples. Great. We need to practice our verbs in part 3, so please make sure you stay for part 3. Let's look at our next 2 examples and then we will continue on. A bridge is being built. A bridge is being built. This is the passive voice of the construction company is building a bridge, right? Our active voice sentence becomes this. A bridge is being built here, okay? Who is building the bridge? We don't know, right? So when you're driving in your car or when you're walking on the road and you notice, oh, look at that, there's a new bridge. A bridge is being built. Who is building the bridge? I don't know. I don't know the company, right? But I want to say, oh, look, a bridge is being built there, right? This is a great way to use passive voice when you don't know who is doing the action, okay? Last one. My phone was stolen. My phone was stolen. Oh my gosh. That's the passive voice of that guy stole my phone, right? In this sentence, we have my phone as our subject and our verb was stolen, right? Who stole my phone? I don't know, right? Or who stole my phone? It could be anyone, right? I want to focus on my phone. That's the problem here, okay? So with this in mind, I will check the chat and then we'll go to the last part quickly. Oh my gosh, there's so many example sentences. Some people are sending just what, like sentences that use was. It's a bit different from passive, yeah? Your sentences are grammatically correct, but just because a sentence uses was does not mean that it is passive, okay? So we are trying to express an action or the effects of the action without explaining the person or the thing doing the action, okay? Some people, it seems, are writing like, sentence uses was, that means it's passive. No. So please stay for part 3, yeah? Most people, I think, need to have a refresher about this. Okay? Dennis, close. My time isn't being wasted here. Good. GMR wrote, the problem was solved. Good. Lartigue, the gate was closed. Closed. Martin, your sentence is correct, but it is not in passive voice. So many people. Let's have everybody, make sure you stay for part 3, okay? A lot of you are sending perfect sentences, great sentences, but they are not in passive voice. So let's practice, okay? Quickly, we don't need to see this whole thing, control this, but I'll just remind people, if you missed it before, there's a free PDF ebook for you. Go check it out. There's a great vocabulary resource there for free at EnglishClass101.com. Amazing. We love that, right? I'll remind you again later. Okay, let's go to part 3 because we need to practice. So, part 3. How do we change an active sentence to a passive sentence? What even is this, right? What is this? So, we practiced this pattern in part 1. We have our subject, we have our verb, and we have our object. Yes? The subject is the person who does the action. He took my coffee. In this sentence, he is the subject. Okay? My verb is took. And my object, the thing that receives the action, is my coffee. Yeah? He took my coffee. So, how do we change this into a passive sentence? To do this very easily, move the object of your active sentence into the subject position here. My coffee becomes the subject in the passive voice sentence, my coffee. Next, we have to use a verb, but we must change the verb in our passive sentence. This uses the verb be. We use the verb be, but we must change the tense of the verb. The tense of the verb must be the same as the original sentence. So we have to use be plus the tense of the verb here, right? My coffee was, so past tense be, taken, past participle verb form, okay? So we have my coffee, the be verb. This is our be verb right here, be verb. And then we finish with the past participle form of the verb. So yes, we have was in this example sentence. This follows the pattern we must use for a passive voice sentence. But not all sentences that use was are passive, okay? My coffee was taken is a passive sentence because we do not know who did the action, yeah? So some of you are writing just a simple past tense sentence that uses was. This is not necessarily a passive voice sentence, okay? Like, I was late. This uses was, right? This is an active voice sentence, okay? So we need to look at the grammar here to tell us whether the sentence is active or passive, okay? Some of you can try again and try making your active voice into a passive voice with this simple pattern, okay? Let me check for your examples now. Okay, GMR has a good one on YouTube. The transaction was verified. Excellent. Good one for online banking for sure. Are there sentences that cannot be changed from active to passive? Gosh, I mean, I don't see why. Like, I can't imagine a sentence that we could not change from active to passive. If you have a full sentence with a subject and you have a verb and you have an object, then there's no reason not to, yeah? So, I don't know, but I would imagine no. I don't know all the sentences possible in humankind, but okay. Ayman wrote, her bicycle was stolen. Nice example, okay? Michaela wrote, that's an active voice sentence. She damaged my refrigerator, followed by my refrigerator was damaged. Yeah, so close. Good job, Michaela. She, sorry, what was it? My refrigerator was damaged. Then you've got it, yeah? So we do this because your original verb, damaged, is past tense, yeah? So we must use the be verb in the same tense, yeah? So your verb damaged was past tense, yeah? So use the be verb in past tense also. Is that okay? So she damaged my refrigerator becomes my refrigerator was damaged. Then it's perfect, okay? Let me see some other passive voices. Natalie wrote, my flat was renovated last year. Nice one. Ahmed wrote, the shipment was delivered. Perfect. Victor has two. She will write a letter, followed by a letter will be written by her. Good. Or just a letter will be written is okay. All right? So that's a point we've seen a few times today. You can use my coffee was taken by him or a letter was written by her. These are correct. It's okay. However, as I talked about in part 2, often we don't know who did it, or it doesn't matter. It's not important who did it. Like a letter will be written is okay to use also. Yeah. Let's see. Nive wrote, Niv, sorry, I hope I said your name right, wrote, message wasn't sent. I maybe would say the message wasn't sent. It depends on the situation. Anyway, wasn't sent would be correct passive voice for this sentence. Okay, Ayman wrote, the bill was paid and the cake was eaten. What is going on over there? Great. Is that maybe a dessert at the end of a meal? Okay, sounds good. Okay, let's go to the final point and then we'll finish. This is a very common question I receive. I have received many times over the years on this channel. The question is, I heard we should not use passive voice in writing. Is that true? Many people have asked, I heard passive voice is bad. We shouldn't use it. No, passive voice is not bad. It is a tool, okay? So it's okay to use passive voice, but remember the guidelines. I know there are some languages and cultures that are less direct, right? You use a lot of passive voice where you don't talk about the person doing the action in the sentence. I know there are cultures and languages that do this a lot. That makes sense. However, in English sentences, we tend to focus a lot on the person doing the action, right? So we tend to use more active voice than passive voice. But that does not mean that passive voice is bad. Passive voice has a wonderful use. We talked about it here. When we don't know the person, when we want to focus on the object receiving the action. Passive voice is a great tool to explain things or when we don't know some information. Okay? Then, a reminder, if you use too much passive voice, we don't know who is doing the action. This is a really common thing. Sometimes you'll hear someone saying, like, my computer was repaired, but then the computer was having lots of problems, and they tell a long story about something, but use so much passive voice. Or maybe a good example is in like I talked about earlier, a company scandal. Like the customer was taken off the airplane, and the customer was told all of their options, blah, blah, blah. They give lots and lots of explanations, but they don't say who did the action. It becomes very confusing. If you use too much passive voice, we don't know who is doing the action. Like, it's really important to know at some point who did it, right? So if this is the reason sometimes writing guides and some teachers, I think, will say, don't use passive, don't use passive. It's because too much passive becomes confusing. We need to know a little bit about the person doing the action. So no, passive voice is not bad. Passive voice is a great tool. Okay, we have to finish there. Phew, that's it. So I hope that this lesson was helpful for you. I will put a QR code. If you want to take a screenshot, you can do your screenshot now. There's screenshot opportunity. If you would like to if you'd like to use your phone to get a QR code, I will put that on the screen now so that you, what? Oh, what did I do? I made it a PDF, is that bad? Oh, sorry. There's a QR code for you if you want to download the lesson. Oh, does it go as like as a different file format? I can change file format? Oh, okay. I'll do that from next week. Okay. So I hope that everyone enjoyed today's lesson about active voice and passive voice. It's a really good one to practice. I know it's a little confusing, but it's very important. Next week, I'll be back, same time, same channel. Let me see what I chose for next week's live lesson. I always forget. Next week, oh my gosh, July next week. Where is the year going? Next week, we're going to practice common phrasal verbs to use at work. I know phrasal verbs are a big challenge point for many people, so we're going to practice some that you can use in the office and maybe a little bit at school too, but we're going to practice those next week. So please join me for a good vocabulary lesson as well as a kind of work conversation lesson. I hope that's really helpful for people. So we'll finish there for today. Thank you as always for joining me. Don't forget there is a free PDF ebook to find from the link below the video on YouTube or above the video on Facebook. You can get this to get the core words of English, the most commonly used words for everyday communication. So check it out. All right, so thanks again everybody. Thank you for liking and sharing the video and have a great day. Have a great week. Have a great weekend and I'll see you again next time.